sent out the note yesterday about Angela Armstrong. I don't know, is there any questions about that? We really don't have any new information. Obviously, the coroner was able to get a positive identification and confirm that that was Angela. There is no, at least on the onset, there is no obvious trauma to the body, but we're still investigating that. We still don't have a cause or manner of death, and that may take several weeks before the coroner is able to determine that.
Toxicology has been sent in?
Yeah, that's part of the normal autopsy is the toxicology. That report, I would say normally what we see is about a 4 to 6 week average time frame before we get, or before the coroner gets that back. And obviously the coroner works closely with our detectives, so when he gets new information, he passes it on to the detectives. But it may be, this may be one of those things where toxicology plays a role in that, and so I'm sure that they're going to wait until they have that information back and before that final report is issued.
Any idea how long she had been?
That's probably a determination the coroner would make. Also, how long she may have been there, I don't know if we have any idea on that yet.
I know you mentioned no obvious signs of trauma, but can you speak to the possibility of whether this is considered a suspicious death?
We're still treating it as an unattended death. Obviously, every unattended death we investigate fully. Until we get more information from the coroner's office, there's not a whole lot we can do. The focus initially was finding her. Obviously, we've now been able to confirm that that was her. So the investigation isn't over yet. We're going to have to wait for that final determination. And so when the coroner determines that cause and manner of death, that's really going to let us know. So if there's anything suspicious, if there's, it wasn't anything obvious that they noticed, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't any suspicious circumstances around that. So we're still looking into it on our end, but the big key component is going to be that final autopsy results and the cause of death.
Are investigators looking into surveillance video around that area?
That's one of the things that they always look for is surveillance video. I don't know at that particular place if they have any cameras outside or not, but that's one of the things that they always look for. Any other questions on that? Okay, on the log, just kind of wade through this. The aggravated assault, that was a stabbing. We don't have a whole lot of details of what led up to it, but we had a couple of guys that had some type of argument, and one of them stabbed the other. The victim was stabbed in the front of his torso and then in the back. He ended up going to the hospital, and they took him into surgery. The injuries were described as non-life-threatening, but obviously severe enough that he had to go to surgery. The officers didn't have a chance to talk to the victim, and so that was a big key component about what happened, what led up to it. But there was another witness, and so we know that the two men, the victim and suspect, had an argument. Once the stabbing happened, our victim came out and saw them fighting and then kind of separated them. The suspect walked away. He was found by officers nearby and ultimately arrested for aggravated assault.
Where did this take place and when?
Sorry, this was just after midnight, so about probably about 12:15 or so a.m. We were called about 12:20. It was in a house in the 1000 block of South Duluth Avenue, which is like 18th and Duluth.
Do you understand?
Yes. His last name is Ashley, Ashley. First is Bobby, Bobby. Middle is Lee, Lee. And he is 60 from Sioux Falls. The victim is 36, also from Sioux Falls.
And it's just aggravated assault?
Just the one charge, yep, aggravated assault. The disorderly conducts ended up being reports. The embezzlement was a car that was loaned out. Family offenses are also reports, no arrests on those. The frauds, we had ID theft and some checks. Larcenies, we had a few unlocked cars, a few shopliftings, really nothing high dollar was taken. Narcotics, we had marijuana and meth, no big quantities. The sex offense, one of them was a sex offender, didn't change his address. The other two, I don't have reports yet. Nothing serious from the simple assaults. The suspicious vehicle, I don't have reports. That was actually created in error, I believe. The vandalism, one of them I don't have reports on. The other was a business window was shot. The window was damaged, and when the officer was looking, they found a bullet hole in the frame. The owner said the business has been closed for a while, so he doesn't have a time frame when that may have happened. The weapons violation, or the weapons call, that was a call about some gunshots near 14th and Regal Place. That was about 4 a.m. There were some people that were outside, and the officers talked to them, and they claimed that they didn't hear any gunshots, and somebody said it may have been fireworks. The officer did find a magazine for a gun that had some bullets in it, but no gun was found, no shell casings were found. We didn't hear of anything that was damaged. And the last weapons violation, that was, I think that was probably tied in with the aggravated assault, but it said it was created in error, so I don't have any reports on that. That's all I have, unless you guys have anything.
Do you know anything about a protest at Van Epps 433?
I don't specifically. I thought I had heard that somebody was working on getting a permit for that, but I don't have details on that. I can check and find out if a permit was issued.
Yeah, if you could, and then just send it to Cleveland.
Yep, I'll do that.
Also, I want to ask about the other missing person. We have another active, open missing
Yep.
person case.
I haven't heard, but I didn't see the detective to check this morning, but it looks like it's still active, so still don't have information on him, and that one is, yeah, I mean, that's, let me look here quick. No, I know the detective's been working on that, and it's another one that he just basically disappeared. He he lived in that area, and he would frequently walk to the store and back, and he just never returned home. So he didn't drive anywhere, so he was just on foot, but we don't have any information where he is. The detective is really doing a lot of checking, but we haven't had any tips, and we haven't had any luck finding him.
What can the public help do in this case? What can they keep an eye out for?
Yeah, I mean, really the only thing that we can do is if people see him, that they would call. And I know we had that picture that was put out, but Nima Sherpa is his name. He is 5 foot tall, 120 pounds. It was on the 13th, so coming up on 2 weeks, that he was last seen. Nobody had a clothing description of him either, so we don't have a whole lot of information to go on, but
And how old is he?
he is 48.
It's sort of why help, though. You need help with missing person cases. If it's bad, the sooner you get to it, the better. And
Right,
if
yeah, I
it's
mean,
good,
yeah, missing person cases are always challenging, especially when people just disappear like this, because it's difficult. I mean, we obviously ask the public's help in trying to find these people, because the more people looking, the better chance there is of finding somebody. It's difficult when you have a person that's just on foot and you don't have any vehicle associated with them. So it makes it a little bit more challenging, but if anybody would see him, we'd certainly want to call, and I mean, even if somebody thinks they see him, that's good enough. We can certainly check that out. But that area where excuse me, that area where he lived and walked. I mean, there's enough houses and businesses around there that we would hope somebody, if they saw something or would see him, that they would call, but we just haven't got any information, any tips on where he may be.
What are some of the efforts or resources the department's using to try and find him, since he doesn't have a vehicle to
Right.
kind of go off of?
Yeah, I'm not going to go into all the details of that because there's a lot of different investigative tools that we use, but they get used frequently, I'll put it that, in a variety of cases, but it's not just a matter of just, hey, help us find this guy. I mean, there's a lot of work that detectives are doing on the back end. There's times when they're out checking different areas. If there are pieces of information, they follow up on all of those, but there's a lot of different resources, a lot of tools that are available to the detectives, and they're using all of those, especially in cases like this.
Yeah, like have a job he didn't show up for?
I don't believe he worked. So, and you know, that could, it just complicates things. It's an unusual situation, but just to have somebody disappear like that, it's tough for the family, and you know, we do everything we can to try to find them, and certainly asking the public to help out is one of the things that we do first and foremost.
We've had 2 missing people now going on for weeks at a
Mhm.
time. Should the public be concerned for their safety?
Like the public safety in general? No, I don't think so. You know, we get a lot of reports. I mean, there's probably, throughout the course of a year, there's probably hundreds of both missing person and check the well-being reports, and that, you know, people just drop off, and sometimes it's for a day or two, sometimes it's for a week or so. There's sometimes we've had cases where somebody just completely disappears and family calls, and obviously they're concerned. We're able to get hold of that person, and they say, I don't want any contact with my family. I don't want any contact with my friends. And that's fine. I mean, at least we can verify that they're okay. But there's a lot of times when we have reports like this, like I said, most of the time we're able to find people within a short amount of time. Certainly there are certain situations where we need help, and that's when we push it out to the public to try to help and find people. Anything else?